Inverse proportion. In inverse proportion, as one value increases, the other decreases. This means that when one quantity goes up, the other goes down. Okay, just before I continue with this instance, let's go through the math hack for inverse proportion. In inverse proportion, we multiply first, then divide for the rest of the process. Now take a look at this. If we say x inversely varies y or varies inversely to y, if we introduce a constant here, we now have x is equal to k over y, such that for us to solve for k, we now have to multiply. So say x multiplied by y is equal to k, and therefore k is equal to xy. Now, if you're not clear with this whole process, it's fine, but you can go to the lesson on direct and inverse relation on this same channel and get to understand this better. So this simply means that we have to multiply first. Each time we have an inverse proportion and then divide for the rest of the process. Now let's go ahead and make more sense out of this by solving some questions and going through the instance. This instance says if 4 workers take 6 hours to do a job, how long would it take 2 workers at the same rates? Assuming they work at the same rate. You are asked to find how long, which means time, that is in hours, 6 hours or how many hours. So we are asked to find for time in hours. It simply means that our central focus is what? On workers. So your focus should be on workers. Then you solve for the length of time. Focus on the workers, you solve for length of time. So let's start. So 4 workers. So I'll use 4 workers does this work in what? In 6 hours. Remember, our central focus is workers. For one worker to do this work, for one worker, or I can say a constant. So let's say constant slash one worker. Obviously, if one person is doing this work, it simply means it's going to take more time for one person to do, because if one person is taking 6 hours, logically, one person is taking more hours. So we'll have to multiply 4 times 6. Remember, we'll have to multiply first. So 4 times 6 gives us 24. So 24 hours. 24 hours. So it simply means that the next question say how long will it take 2 persons? So two workers. 2 workers now simply means the time is going to reduce. So which means it's going to be less than how long it take one person to do the work. So 24 divided by 2 now gives us 12 hours. So the hack here is you have to multiply first, then divide for the rest of the process. But mind you, you have to also consider things logically here and focus on what you are asked. So let's solve more example. The more we solve, we get used to the whole process. And the next question says 12 men can dig a foundation in 8 days. How many men? So we are being asked to solve for the number of men can dig it in 6 days. 6 days is our central focus. So we have to focus on the information given to us and then we solve for the unknown. So this is the unknown, but this is our central focus. So we have to focus on this. We're going to focus from this. So we say in 8 days. So 8 days and then 12 men. So in 8 days, 12 men digs a foundation. Okay, so for the constant slash 1 day, you can just say in 1 day, how many men can dig it? Obviously, if you're going to do this work in 1 day, now it's taking 12 men 8 days to do this work. So if you want to do the work in 1 day, it simply means we need more men. So you have to now say, you have to multiply 8. Remember, in inverse proportion, multiply first, then divide later. 8 multiplied by 12, right? Okay, so let's get our on-screen calculator and do this. 96. So it will take 96 men in 1 day to do this work or to dig the foundation. Now the question now asks, how many men can dig it in 6 days? So in 6 days, we'll have to divide by 6. So 96 divided by 6, 16. So in 6 days, we need 16 men. So the idea here is we multiply first, then divide later. Like you saw here, we had to multiply here first, but from this point we divide. And another stuff is that you have to focus on the information given to you. So work with that information and then you use it to find this one. So this is your central focus. Let's solve on that question and you see what I'm talking about again. Okay, this one says a bag of rice can feed 50 students for 8 days. How many students will it feed for 10 days at the same rate? So this is what we are being asked. How many students will it feed for 10 days Now for 10 days, our central focus is what? Days at the same rate. So, and they said you can feed 50 students in 8 days. So 8 days, it feeds 50 students, right? So for our constant, or we can say 1 day. So in 1 day, obviously we're going to have more. So we have to multiply 8 multiplied by 50. In 8 days, is feeding 50 students, which means in 1 day is going to feed more students, right? Okay, and remember in inverse proportion, we have to multiply first. So having said that, from this point, 8 times 50, 8 times 5 is 40, then we'll just add them 0 there. So that gives us 400, but we can still use our on-screen calculator. 8 multiplied by 50, that's 400. Okay, so it fits how many? 400 students. So the question says in 10 days, that is our central focus, where we are meant to solve for how many. So we're going to solve from this point. We're solving from the point of days because we have information on days. So in 10 days equal to 400 divided by 10. So 0 cancels out 0. 40 over 1 is same thing as what? 40. So 40 students. You have to be careful about your unit as well. So remember, this point we had days, and this point now we have students. So that's just it. And finally, one more question and we are done. So you see, at this point, you're already getting the whole information about this. So question, this last example says a sum of money is shared among 40 people. They each get 8 naira. The same amount is shared equally among 50 people. How much will each get? So how much will each get, the amount they will receive? Now the same amount is shared equally among 50 people. So we are going to solve from the standpoint of people. 40 people, that's our central focus because we have information on that. 40 people is receiving how much each? 8 naira. So for us to find how much one person is going to receive, it means one person is going to receive more, obviously. If 40 people share a sum of money and each person is getting 8 naira, if one person collects the whole money without sharing it, obviously that person is going to have more money. So let's say one person is equal to, so we have to multiply according to inverse proportion. So one person is equal to 40 multiplied by 8. I don't know if this is making sense. So let's do that together. 40 multiplied by 8, that is 220. So here we have 320 naira for one person. Then we are now asked if the same amount is shared equal, that is more like saying at the same rate, among 50 people, how much will each get? So for among 50 people, so let's say 50 people is equal to 320 divided by 50, and zeros can cancel out here, right? So let's do that. 32 divided by 5, 6.4. So we have that each person receives 6.4 naira, and that is just simply it. So I'm putting the units. So naira. Here is people, people, people. Here is naira. One thing you need to know is that you have to multiply first. Like here, multiply first, then divide later. And then when you read the question, focus on the information that you are giving. So the unit or the value that gives you more information is where you're going to focus. That's your standpoint. And then from there, you will walk to the one that you are not giving enough information about. So we have information about people. Look at people, people. But for amount, we only have one information for amount. So we are going to solve from what? The point where we have enough information. And having said that, we have come to the end of the lesson on inverse proportion. Do wait to check out for the previous lesson on unit conversion and direct proportion. So having said that, thank you so much for joining us, and join us next time. You're also free to join our math community where we'll solve more questions and do a lot of things to build ourselves together. So having said that, thank you so much. God bless.